Nice and...
Yep.
Mike's over there. So we need to tap into the mind of a Greg Jennings. Don't like any notifications on the Mac, so I put on Do Not Disturb. Oh, yeah. Wonder how loud the limitation is. This boy's limiting pretty daggone hard. Draw him back. You know what? Make it 7. 7's a sweet spot. Mic check. It's another episode of the podcast. Welcome back. My loyal 8 listeners, welcome back. So I'm going to kind of settle into this podcast a little bit more. Just going to kind of think about my body and just my thinking. And really focus on saying exactly what I mean. I mean, come on, isn't that what we're here to do? That's a podcast for ya. So the podcast has been super fun for me. I mean, if there's people listening, it's great. It's really cool because there has to be some sort of sounding board to the thoughts that are running through my mind. Otherwise, these thoughts wouldn't be bubbling to the surface. If there wasn't an imagined audience, if I didn't feel like this was going to reach people and hit their ears, I wouldn't be doing it. But I have this deep belief that it's happening. And I'm here for it. So that's a podcast. I talked a lot about inspiration. I've talked about a couple of business concepts. I haven't gotten too technical in anything business related. It's more of just, I like the phrase I already used, it's bubbling to the surface. These ideas that I have, they are bubbling up. That's a cool concept. When something makes it to the surface, I love the saying, you just barely scratch the surface. It's so deep. So we got pi on the clock. It's 3 minutes and 14 seconds. Man, condensed thinking. How do I do it? There's a lot happening in my life. There's a lot of really, really positive things happening, actually. The more I think about it, I'm excited. I've gone from being happy to being excited. Well, it was happy. It was fully aware. It was adapting. And then it was contemplation. And then it was kind of fun. So that's how I would sum up the previous podcast that I've done. Because this would probably be, if I'm going to timestamp it, it's happening now. I love the idea of doing a podcast and there's no edits and there's no breaks and it's then and now. There's no release date. It is coming out ASAP. It's very fun. I think about communication. We have to say words in life. I remember there were days when I used to work in accounting where I would go the whole day without saying a single word to another human. How you doing? That's 4 words, I think. But, like a real dialogue. Two words back and forth. I think about dialogue, I guess. I want to have intense, good dialogue with as many people as I can. Pretty much. I like understanding people. I think people are real interesting. They inform me a lot about my own behavior. If I see somebody, I'm looking at them, and there's all these arcs with stories. People have patterns. I remember this one girl I went to high school with. She was probably the most popular in a good way. She was the most respected. Her family was very well established in our community. They had a lot of good ideas. They ran a business. She was always super easy to talk to. Just kind of silly almost. Never seemed too much to talk to her, but her family's like this, oligarchy or whatever in our community. And I think super highly of this person because of their ability to champion other people and communicate to a wide audience. That always struck me as useful and kind of cool. There's a lot of different ways to be cool in life. Have you ever thought about that? I was talking to one of my friends recently, and I said, hey, you remember high school? Do you remember high school? All you had to do was just be cool and have fun. And we just started laughing. Just the idea of just be cool, just fit in, just understand at the level everyone else knows is high quality. High school. Anyways, I have no idea what I'm really trying to say here. I get all these ideas outside the podcast. I got a notification. They keep coming to me on my Mac. They interrupt. The early podcasts, the early days of when I felt inspired to do this podcast a while back. I mean, it's already so far in the past. And my knee-jerk reaction to reach into the past and grab onto it and say, it's still here. Grab it, get it before I lose it. And it's this, let it go. Let it go. There's too much we're all holding on to inside. I mean, it's too much. Let it go. You ever let something go? You remember playing tug of war in elementary school? They would split everyone into two groups. All right, you guys over here, we got team A, and then we got team B on the left. You guys just spread out. We got this rope here. Now, you, group A, pick up the rope. Group B, pick up the rope. All right, no one pull on it yet. And people start to pull on it. The guy in front of you test how hard he can pull on it. Dude, come on. We got to wait. It's a tug of war. A window into the world. Narration. So I remember just pulling on that rope, tug of war. I'm in first grade, dude. This is the most important task I've been assigned. Is, hey, you're going to line up with a bunch of other kids. And you guys are going to pull on a rope in the gym. And we're all going to watch. And you guys got to pull as hard as you can. Get in there. Get ready to pull. I remember tug of war. It's there. It's a window into the world. It's their idea. Float away. See ya. And it's gone. And that's letting go. Do you see what that was? Rewind it back 2 minutes. Remember. Do you remember how to remember? Do you ever getting a little too high? We're going to reel it back I like the podcast being 18 to 24 minutes. I like splitting it up into those segments, those time scales that just feel right of thinking. And I don't want to repeat too many topics I've already talked about. Those thoughts keep bubbling to the surface of what have I talked about? Oh yeah, it's like I've anchored myself in these concepts of, but I don't want to be anchored. See ya. I mean, there's so many things I could talk about. There's so many things to imagine and to play out in thought for an imagined audience. That's movies, that's stories, that's a book you just read. These are things. These are the concepts that we have. So I like settling into a podcast. Wow, I do like that. What does that mean? Well, the last podcast. This one I'm putting as 6. 2 podcasts ago was 4. If my math is correct, I went to college for this, I think. So I want to talk about my day. What I did. I basically shared it with you guys. I mean, Instagram is the ultimate show and tell. You guys remember show and tell? Oh yeah, I would have talked about that on the 5th podcast because this is the 6th. And I was just talking about the 6th and the 4th, and I was just lining them up, and then I took a long break, and now I'm back. Break the 4th wall. Bush that down. No, but this is, my thinking changes a lot. I've noticed that. My thinking changes a lot. But there's like key components, there's core elements that stay the same. They're like built into foundation, and I try to actually seek those out. And to do that, from a scientific, like experimental, like, A/B test type thing, you have to compare new data against new data. Oh, what if I thought about it like this? What if I was the greatest imagined version of myself and then I lived that out every single day? What would that look like? Oh, okay. Hey, give me the keys. Seriously, turn this off. Cut it off. AZ, hey. I'm going home. Give me the keys. Please don't leave. Please. Give me the keys. I'm done with this. I don't want to give him the keys. Hey, dude, I'm not giving you the keys. I ain't giving you the keys, bro. Turn this off. Hey, I'm not giving you the keys. That's how serious that moment was, and now how great. Give me all the keys. Give me them. That's. You ever think about how life will fluctuate? Most people are saying yes. What does that mean? You'll be in some states where, I think your partner is a good example. There's some states that you'll be with your partner in, and you'll feel one way at one point in time, and then they could do the exact same pattern of action, and then a different day, fluctuation, that you could interpret their actions a different way. And that's fluctuation. It happens all the time. I'll go back and forth on the things that I think fluctuate dramatically is sales performance, sales production. If you work in direct sales or commission based, you'll go 4 or 5 days and crush. And people will know what I mean by crush. You'll just be, making sales. It's not that hard to understand. And then there's slumps where you'll fluctuate. And you can't even talk to somebody. They'll answer the door and you're just standing there. It just doesn't make sense. So fluctuation can happen in the gym. extreme modes of consistency and extreme modes of discipline versus I ain't been to the gym in 3 months. Oops. Fluctuation. You fluctuate, I fluctuate, we flux. Stupid. I got the Avery. Shout out to Imperial. I do like a podcast. I mean, I just think it's like the cog, not the cog, bad connotation. It's like the, think about cooking. You just put a bunch of ingredients into a big pot. You throw in a couple onion. You dabble in a pasta. I mean, you got a pot of just ingredients. And let's say you drizzled some dry seasoning over top. You got it boiling. You got the stove on. Now a podcast, imagine it's that wooden spoon or a label they call it, I think, and you just dip that in and start stirring. That is a podcast for your brain. I feel like if I wasn't doing this, these thoughts would be callousing. Callous, C-A-L-L-O-U-S, callous, I think is how you spell it. I never won any spelling bees, but I can spell. These thoughts would callous inside my mind and they become me. A negative thought that you hold on to for too long will become your reality. It'll become you. It'll become your pain body as I get a notification for Instagram on my wrist. That was funny. I'm going to dismiss that though. Because I'm doing a podcast. Hey, Dad, don't call me. I'm doing a podcast. Hang up. Funny. So we got Fiji water. We got conversation. I mean, I was thinking about this too. I mean, the amount of podcasts I listen to where there's 2 people there and I feel like they're not on the same line of thinking is pretty common. I think that's not even a bad thing. I think it's a good thing for other people to see other people figuring out conversation and dialogue in front of other people. I think that's overall a good thing. I think Joe Rogan did a good thing by keeping his podcast and platform just open, not too constrained, not too overproduced. It was just he was always him, and he was gonna just do what he thought was funny and interesting and informative. And that spirit, I mean, I love the word spirit. I mean, it's in the air, like the spirit. I mean, you just read about concepts about this overarching spirit. What is that up there, you know? It's this... I've been very, very aware of this, focusing too much on this element of presence. Because I think those words, I can lose a lot of people when I'm using those words. And I don't want to overshare, but it's definitely the seed. Like, I just grabbed my little mini shovel, walked out the red barn, just plopped into the green grass, just chugging away, foot on the heel, feeling it. I'm ripping up the mud. Oh, that's a big rock. Oh, I hit a rock. Let me get back more down in there. Just, and if I just dug up that little hole and then I dropped in the seed of presence, and the whole scene just faded to white, and like, that's the window into the world. That's classic writing. Steven Pinker, it's a book. You want to talk and speak in a way that creates imagery. You want to be the speaker into the mind's eye of the listener. What's the difference? I just talked about this last podcast. I remember the last podcast. And the last, and the last, and the last. I'm the origin. I am the podcast. If you haven't figured out. It's comedy. I mean, it's really narration, mindfulness. It's just thought. We put too much emphasis on this word thought. And we're always having them. the percentage of thoughts that we have to thoughts that we actually communicate, it's probably really low. I mean, I want to say it's 10%, maybe. I mean, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comment. I don't know. Anyways, that's another podcast. And hey, just he's not gonna give me the keys. Give me all the keys. That's a wrap. Hey man, take a sip of this.